Hello and welcome everyone, my name is Kepkan and today we're going to be talking about the absence of big expansion release for Path of Exile 1. As you can see on this graph, it's already 5 leagues that we didn't really receive any big expansion updates for our endgame. That means that whenever we were stuck, whenever we were, we were presented with Siege of the Atlas, it is already live for 5 leagues and is going to be live even for the 6th one. And I doubt, or maybe if in best case scenario it will be after this one, but I truly doubt that it will be. So as you can see here, we do have a graph of popularity of the game with all the small leagues coming out. So there's your Domination, Nemesis, Talismans, Breaches, and stuff like that. And then here we have releases of big expansions. So game release, Sacrifice of the Val, Forsaken Masters, The Awakening, so 2.0, Ascendancy, Atlas of Worlds, The Fall of Oriath 3.0, War for the Atlas, Betrayal. To be honest, I don't really... maybe with Betrayal there was some other big expansion. I can't really remember that much. But yeah, then it was Conquerors of Atlas, Echoes of the Atlas, and Siege of the Atlas. Man, it was Echoes of the Atlas. I can't even... I can't really recall the name itself of the big expansion. But basically, Path of Exile for the last 5 years, or for the last 4 years, and this year is already an exclusion from that rule. For the last 4 or some years, Path of Exile was receiving big expansion every 4 leagues with pretty big revamp of how Atlas works, of how the endgame works, and many different additional changes, many different interesting things were added to the game. There was a kind of progressive process of everything getting updated and put together. Whenever they introduced first the rework of Masters, then they've introduced... Oh yeah, Betrayal was the complete rework of the Masters. That's why it's here like that. Then they gave us the Atlas talent trees for the regions. Then it was a rework for big Atlas talent tree, stuff like that. And all the new Pinnacle bosses were coming with all these big expansion releases. And the last one gave us Syrian Exarch. It gave us Unending Hunger, and all those guys. But it may be a problem, it may not be a problem, depending on how do you perceive such things. But at least in my opinion, I definitely feel the void of the big expansion for such a long time. For 4 leagues it was okay, even though the leagues themselves, as Sentinel or maybe Lake of Kalandra, they were kind of lackluster, and yeah, people didn't really, especially with Lake of Kalandra, people didn't really love it, and that was pretty objective thought about the league. But at the same time, I was hoping for the big release of the big expansion right whenever Crucible should have started, or probably I was waiting for it already whenever the Forbidden Sanctum was up, and I was thinking, man, how what they will add to our end game systems that will shake not the meta of classes, but the end game meta, just the way how you play the game. What we will get new in terms of maybe a new subsystem to maps, or some additional things for the Atlas. Some additional new mechanics that you can play with around the Atlas. And I understand that they've made and built quite a robust system with the current Atlas system. They have way less problems with updating it with every league. They are shuffling the maps constantly. We do have our talent tree. They are changing the talent tree. They're giving us new options, new keystone talent nodes, as it is in Trial of the Ancestors. It's all good, it's all cool. You do get new stuff that you can play with, and it's a new stuff for mostly all previous league types. So it's not like we don't really get any endgame updates, but it's just it's way less of them. They are way more subtle. And to be honest, new bosses is something that all people who play Path of Exile crave for. Everybody loves bosses. Everybody loves Uber bosses. And stuff like that, and we are getting some types of bosses with our regular leagues that are coming, but they're nowhere near to the level of Searing Exarch or Unending Wrath or something, or Cyrus or Maven. And even though the Maven itself has got the keynote, but not the Maven fight, but we have some updates to their mechanics that are present in maps that we're farming. But still, it's, to be honest, I don't really know about all the other people, but I do feel the void of absence. Just probably just the absence of something new getting added to the end game systems. Maybe new type of influence. I know that game has pretty big amounts of things to do already. Okay, it may not be the influence stuff, it may not be something new that you're getting on your items, but maybe some new ways, some new constant ways for how you're playing the game in a long run. And I know that Forbidden Sanctum is kinda something similar to that. It's like its own inside game, like Heist or Delve. But again, Heist or Delve, they weren't really big endgame expansion reworks. They didn't really get us anything new. And now for more than year and a half, we're going to be playing with the same the same types of influences on the gear, the same Eldritch Embers, and stuff like that. And I understand that it's if the system works, you don't really want to break it or something, but it's not like it's the ideal thing that should stay in the game forever and you wouldn't really change it never, just because you already have your Atlas talent tree and it's running. You can just patch it out bit by bit, and then that's it. Your end game is going to be like this forever, because whenever you were changing from the Atlas variation, whenever you were chasing the Elder, you were spreading its influence, then Shaper's influence comes out, and then you have your fight with Elder, and after that you were redirected to the Maven parts of the Atlas, and you were progressing it totally the other way. I understand that both those systems probably were a bit worse than what we currently have, and maybe not even a bit worse, but yeah, they were worse. They had their own problems, but you were solving something new. And whenever we were chasing the Elder with Shaper influence on maps, and on your Atlas and stuff like that, that was its own mini game when it comes to you progressing and playing through your Atlas and just engaging with the end game system itself. Whenever then we've changed to the Atlas regions, it was the mini game in itself. You should have figured out about everything that you wanted to get there. It was just something for you to engage in that wasn't really combat, and that you didn't really know how to do. Maybe probably many people read the guides about it. But anyways, you've had a way for you to be interested in the game otherwise than to engage in combat. There was this thing. Now with the Atlas itself, I don't really think that if someone played through at least 3 leagues, they don't really know what they're doing with Atlas. It's probably figured out to the core, because it's not like there's just that much of things that you can do. There is still plenty space for you to play with and combine things and stuff like that. But I guess in my opinion, it's just not is just not equal to the shakeup that was previously. Once per year with all these big expansions, you don't even need to make a better system. It just needs to be something else. Just like it's the case with balance changes that they have stopped doing. So numerical balance changes for most of the skills. Every league, like 2 or 3 years ago, they were just shuffling around numbers. Some skills was better than the other ones, and then it all gets changed. Some people are frustrated, but most of the people are hyped and excited to try and build new stuff because the stuff changed. That's the main reason here. And with my experience in Path of Exile and with my experience in even competitive PvP games where you do have metas with builds, with items, for example, League of Legends or Dota, even though, and I'm capable of playing them on kind of high level. People don't really even need the big change for the heroes or the champions or items or builds. People just need a hint that something changed, and then they're gonna turn their awareness to that thing. So the change itself may not be even necessary, or it may not be even impactful, but the change happened, and people that forget about some particular skill or some particular build or some particular item will now will now think that it's better, so that they need to test it, and then they will figure out new things that they can make with it. And basically that's the main reason why the balance changes like this exist. It's not even for them to create a mega super good balance so that all the skills are equal, because it's not the case. It will never be the case, and it's not the point of the thing. The point of the thing is just for them to change the perspective of players and lean them towards something else. Which they did not do for quite a while, and people are, at least in my own opinion, upset, and developers deserve this reaction from the community, because I understand that they're making Path of Exile 2. They have all their free spare workers doing stuff for PoE 2. But whenever you're making your second game and your first game doesn't really get big major expansions for more than for like 1.5 times of time that they were previously getting, so basically we were getting our big expansions every year. Now it's 1.5 year and we still don't have it. So, and I don't really think that we will have the big announcement for the winter, and it's going to be an expansion reveal. I just truly don't think so, and that's just, I understand their intentions, but the product that they are giving to us for this 1.5 year is not in the best quality that they could have got it in. So yeah, you're trying to do something new, but anyways. I am as a consumer, as the end consumer, and I just get your product. Your product being more stale for more time than it previously used to be, and that's not a welcome change. It's worse than it was before, because you don't have as much people and resources to put into the game, and you're not putting them, and it's their decision as developers to do that, and I'm not okay. I'm not for it. I'm okay with it, but I would have gladly have a big expansion already in Crucible, already maybe even in Forbidden Sanction, but okay, it's ahead then. It would have been too fast maybe, but whenever Crucible hit the playground, it should have got the big expansion with some additions to the end game. And I felt it's absent. I feel it's absent even more with Trial of Ancestors being revealed. and being announced and all the patch notes, I feel the balancing changes absent, but that's more of a obvious thing that people talk about anyways. The thing that people really, that this one surprises me a bit more, that people don't really talk about big end game changes or additions to the game, expansions to the game, even though it is already, it is. They're not really up to date with their own schedule in that terms, and that's really weird. But yeah, thanks for watching. I guess that's my point on this. Hope you're having a good time in Trial of Crusaders Ancestors. I'm gonna be playing it. You're probably gonna be playing it too. Goodbye.